Have you ever been on a quest for the perfect everyday carry folder or that perfect everyday carry fixed blade? If you have, then hit the subscribe button down below the video, because today I have a video on the knife that I have been hunting down for years and years at this point. Multiple fixed blades that I have gone through looking for that perfect everyday carry fixed blade, and some got oh so close, some were complete duds upon arrival, some I thought was the perfect one until it came to certain scenarios where I found that maybe it wasn't long enough, maybe it was a little too thick. So many different variables that play into this, and the guys who are on a certain quest to find that certain knife know exactly what I'm talking about. There's little nuances that might just completely deter you from calling that your perfect everyday carry knife. Now, I have some fixed blades that would be perfect and are perfect everyday carry fixed blades, but they kind of miss on one or two things, maybe very small things even. So today I would like to introduce the Axial Gear Alpine. First and foremost, Axial is an American company. They do have some knives that are Chinese manufactured. This is one of them. So this is manufactured in China. This is not part of their American retail. You know, it's made in China, not in America. A lot of their autos are made here. They have a folder or two and a fixed blade that are made overseas, but that's okay. This is a phenomenal fixed blade. Now, between coming up with the idea for this fixed blade video and shooting this video, they have since went out of stock. These typically retail for $130. I was able to pick this knife up, like I said, between Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2022 for $60, guys. And once we go over some of the specs, you are going to be pretty impressed, I think. So starting us off down here on the tip, we do have a special edition white Cerakoted S35VN Drop Point Blade. And guys, it is thin, it is slicey, it is a phenomenal blade shape in my opinion for everyday carry needs. Even taking it to work and using it as an EDC and work knife. You have this fuller with Axial's 3-lined milling pattern that they do in a lot of their knives. Looks very good in my opinion. You have 2 tooled screws on both sides for your inlays or your handles, your micarta handles. And guys, this micarta is finished so good. It's got a little texture to it, a little smoothness to it, but it is finished amazingly. It feels good in hand. Of course, you have full tang construction. You got to be looking for full tang when you are talking about a fixed blade. If you are not familiar, full tang is where you have one solid piece of steel. The whole construction of it is one solid piece all the way down to the very butt end of the knife. And that is what you are looking for. It provides you with the most strength that you are going to get, full tang. So that is what you are looking for if you want an EDC fixed blade or any fixed blade for that matter. If you see where it is just the handle and just the blade and you have just a little piece coming down into the handle, typically 99% of the time that is not what you are looking for. And someone who is new doesn't know any better typically. So you are looking for full tang construction that's going to give you a lot of toughness, a lot of rigidity. You know, it's the way that you want to go. And guys, this thing is so comfortable in hand. It's not real thin, but it definitely is not thick. You have a little bit of width here, but it just melts in the hand. And you have, in my opinion, a perfect ratio of blade to handle. And what I mean by that is this blade is a little bit longer than your handle, and that is perfectly acceptable with me. Ratios on a fixed blade, you might as well throw those out. That doesn't even make any sense in my opinion. If you have a 8 or 9 inch bladed fixed blade, you certainly are not going to have an 8 or 9 inch handle. So a ratio on a fixed blade is very stupid. And if you think that it looks unproportional, it is not. Handles typically on fixed blades are definitely going to be shorter than the blade. That's just how it works. Now, that being said, some of your smaller EDC fixed blades might have a similar blade and handle, but that's because once you get down so small, you know, if you have a 2.5 inch blade, well, of course, it's going to be very similar to the handle. But once you start creeping up the blade length, the handle is going to naturally stay a little smaller. And in my opinion, this gives me that perfect amount of handle to get all 4 fingers on here, and I have some room left over if I want to spread out a little bit, or if you have bigger hands, you know, if you have XXL hands, I still think this is going to be pretty comfortable for you. You might hang off a touch, but in my opinion, if your pinky comes behind the handle, that just gives you added resistance when you are going into material. When your pinky lands behind the handle, I actually like that, and I sometimes will grab my fixed blades like that and put my pinky behind the fixed blade or behind the handle if I know I might be getting into something that's tough or what have you. That just gives you a little bit extra support going inward. So now that we've talked about some materials, why don't we go over some specs? Now, I wrote some down so we could get a little further into this knife. It comes with an awesome Kydex sheath, and I opted for leather loops because they keep everything as minimal as possible. So those are scout straps, and they do not add any bulkiness to the sheath. I mean, that's as low profile as you can get, in my opinion. Now, this is also perfect to just throw in your pocket just with the sheath. So you can go scout carry, you can throw it in the pocket, and then of course you could add, you know, a ulti clip or anything like that to this. It just is up to you. Very versatile, very well made. The retention of these guys is great. It's not too strong, but it's just strong enough that it's not going to give you any issues. I think it's great. It's perfect. And especially even at 120, I think this is an awesome absolute winner. So we have 6.9 inches overall with a 3.5 inch blade. Your blade stock thickness is 118 thousandths. You have a flat grind for the blade. The handle length is 3.4, almost 3.5. So you're looking at just about 7 inches overall. It's about 6.9, just under 7 inches overall, which in my experience is just about as big as you would want to go in an EDC fixed blade. This is just about the perfect size. You're getting a little bit extra blade length, but you still got enough handle there to get a good grip on this guy. The other amazing thing about this knife is it's coming in right around 2.7 to 2.8 ounces. That is phenomenal. I wanted to check the behind the edge quickly though. That was one thing that I forgot to check. So that bad boy is coming in. Can you see that? 16 thousandths behind the edge. So that is pretty damn good in my opinion. This thing it has been phenomenal. So let's see what this guy is hitting for. And mind you, this is after use and carrying it, and you know, giving it some pretty good work. It has held the edge pretty good. It needs a little strop back. I like to do these, you know, these types of tests after I've used them, before I strop them back. That way you guys can see what they look like with use. And this guy has held its edge pretty good in my opinion. And another thing, you know, that drop point allows you to do is really get into material good. Now I want to do some cardboard cut. So we will toss down a first layer of cardboard. Don't mind my daughter's drawings. So we have some cardboard. There is a cut there, but I will take that out of frame. So just a standard 2-ply piece of cardboard. We have the Alpine here. And I'm going to put minimal pressure down. Nothing crazy. And it just slices right through. I think that's through everything but the bottom of the paper. So if I even put, you know, and that was in a choke back, if we do a pressure draw cut, that is basically all the way through. I mean, it's cutting it. And that wasn't even full pressure. If we go ahead and now I'm not going to give it everything I got, but it's going to do very well, guys. That S35VN has performed awesome, and I have been ecstatic with how it's done. And all the different cuts that you can perform with this blade shape. I mean, even simple like bushcrafting type stuff, nothing crazy. Food prep, cutting your apple, preparing your meal if you're camping or whatever. It just does a phenomenal job. There hasn't been one thing with this knife that I've found that I don't like it for. And usually I find something that I don't like. And even getting behind like strapping or stuff like that, it does very good with that as well. I mean, this does a phenomenal job on your basic everyday carry tasks. Now let me get this cleaned up. So we got that all cleaned up. Here is just a mini zip tie. And it just, well, if I can, it's a little bit different cutting it on cardboard. But it does it's a well-rounded fixed blade knife. It's gonna cut your cardboards, your ropes, your twines, your strapping, your tape, all that kind of stuff, and it's gonna do it very well in my opinion. Getting in behind stuff, that belly is going to do you justice. You know, getting in behind strapping or twine or rope or what have you, getting in behind it with that tip, then hitting it with this belly, running it along that straight edge, and then being able to pull back on it, it does a phenomenal job. Your standard draw cuts, all that kind of cutting, this is going to excel at and do a phenomenal job. Now I know Axial keeps those in stock usually. Like I said, they are currently out of stock, but I look for them to be coming in stock again very soon. And if you are on the hunt for a everyday carry fixed blade that is not too thick, not too long, not too short, that meets all the requirements of a good EDC fixed blade, the Axial Alpine is definitely one to consider. Now, there might be guys who prefer one, who know what they like, and they're able to carry one a little bigger. And that is perfectly fine. If what your day-to-day activities include and you can carry something a little bigger, I'm all, that's awesome. I wish I could too, but my daily job and what I do doesn't allow for me to carry much bigger than this. Some guys, this might be too big and you might prefer something a little smaller. So it all depends on what your use case is, what you do in a everyday basis. I do have some other videos coming up on other fixed blades, similar ones in size, shorter ones, little bigger ones, and then a lot bigger ones. So stay tuned for that. If you're still here and hanging out, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you. I love you. Leave me a comment down below. And if you're still here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button down below. Otherwise, guys, I will catch you on the next one.